right, $0 a month, 0 patrons. So I think what we should do is
let me hear what you think, because I got thoughts too. I thought something came up earlier. Go ahead.
Even before we have a single person outside the two of us who has viewed one of these, even before we have a single subscriber, we do a free podcast and a paid podcast once a week.
Yeah.
So we record twice. One is free, one is paid for, let's call it $3.50, and that's going to change every month based on the current inflation rate.
Well, we'll put that in the fine print too.
And it's payable only in Doge.
Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live.
That's the first tier.
Are you writing down the notes? Are you writing this down?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first tier, right? We'd say $3.50 gets you into the second episode.
Right. But we need a good name. I'm going to say, honestly, I'm ripping off what Tim Dillon does, but it's a very good structure.
This is why it is helpful for us to be coming from different backgrounds on this to just kind of check our notes with each other.
Okay.
From what I've seen, this is also pretty common as well.
Yeah, very common. Very common.
So there's an industry standard that they're all working together with, because they're seeing what works, and whether it's them making decisions or some type of firm that they hire to do the decisions for them, it seems like the right track.
Yeah, well, someone came up with that setup, and it makes it. You don't want to make it too complicated, because you've seen Patreons with, like, if you donate $3, then you get to name an episode. If you donate $20, then you get to be on the episode. If you donate this, if you're on this tier, then once every 6 months, Ryan will come and give you a rim job. If you donate $500, it's too complicated. People can't keep that all together.
Yeah. Yeah. Here I go. It's worth the $12 I'm getting every month.
We're gonna have to make that a higher pay tier.
Yeah. Lee, can we charge a little bit more for these rim jobs I'm doing? And
$12.75, all you get, bud.
See, so we get the free episode, we get the paid episode,
and then you do merch.
Do merch. I'm also thinking, if we're gonna put the video together, to charge for that. I am thinking,
like, if you want the video episode,
if you want the video, it's $5 a month. You get the video, you get the second episode.
Right.
Because
so
like it's a lot of work to do the video editing.
Yeah, it is. So,
but if we're gonna be recording audio, we could easily record video in a way that's like, it's not that much more. It's not like double the amount of work, but it is a good amount of work. I mean, it's something I'll probably get better at.
And we put a lot of effort into our visual style, so
yeah, it'd be the companion piece that goes along for the fan, and there'll be a term for our fans in each tier.
Juicers.
Yeah.
Juicers.
Yeah. So,
or garbage men. Garbage men I like better.
Like, next one's like, you're the truck driver. Thinking about the position of sanitation crews.
Yeah.
Something like that.
The bag man,
Yeah.
The driver.
There's a lot of material.
The bag man, the driver. there's a lot you can do.
We could settle on. And so we'd have the free, the extra, the 2 shows, and the 2 shows plus the video.
Right.
So those are technically our 3 tiers. The first tier is
merch.
And that would be a fourth tier where you would like they're getting merch, or okay,
Right. So yeah. So I mean, the free tier, you don't have a free tier in Patreon because you can just
right,
access that
yeah,
on all the major platforms,
yeah,
audio only. Then you have the extra episode, which we won't do any ad reads on. You know, like we're for the free episodes. Obviously, we're going to be doing ad reads.
yeah.
Like probably about 5 minutes an episode of ad reads. Like Ridge Wallet and like Ridge Wallet and I don't what's the other ones?
Well, I get a lot of advertisements for like women's underwear and leggings. I don't know. This is just like stuff I've been looking up, or
No, I'm sure it's random. But then the Patreon episode, we won't do any ad reads because we respect our subscribers.
Yeah. Yes.
And then if you're doing the video subscription, we'll cut the ad reads to a minimum.
Yeah. That would be ideal. Add tiers. Why is this all?
And then what I'm thinking is once we grow this, we can get into the NFT game. We'll call it Trash Coin. And what you get for Trash Coin is, when we go do our live shows, you get free entrance into the live show. Maybe, hey, if you have enough Trash Coin, you get a backstage meet with us for, let's say 90 seconds or so. You get maybe a 3% discount on merch, something like that. I really like the NFT game right now. Gary Vee's very big into it. So if Gary Vee's into it, I know it's a good scam to be in. So I want to really start moving in that direction for us. I know we're only in Prologue episode 3, but I think it's time we start really, really taking on some of the advice that I'm receiving from the best marketer in the history of the world, Gary Vee.
Fucking love Gary Vaynerchuk. Check. Let me get that link.
So this is also another how the sausage was made episode, because people are going to look back on this and be like, hey, if you ever want to know how to start a podcast and start monetizing, this is the journey.
These guys recorded themselves, and look at where they are now, living in a goddamn dumpster. They manifested their trash life to its ultimate ending.
Lee lost his job, his wife, his kids, his friends.
And
but
Ryan
he still
didn't have as far to fall, but definitely no better off.
Does I don't know. And I was listening to a podcast recently. They had someone on with a real job like me, and the guy was like really nervous to say anything. And they were trying to bait him, like, "Oh, what do you think about the LGBTQ community? How do you feel about the recent swimmer Leah Thomas?" Like, trying to get him into trouble, by talking about subjects that can easily get you into trouble. Have you seen that in your because like the guys in Cumtown or what is it, Chapo, they don't have anything to worry about. They can say whatever they want at this point. I don't think they've ever had jobs in their lives. So
because
for them,
whatever they were doing before wasn't probably it's probably like media. It was probably some other type of media or something.
Like they're the guy who drives around in a bike delivering weed in Brooklyn or something. Like this was probably their job or something like that.
This is interesting.
But on those podcasts, do they ever have regular people who actually have things to lose?
You're right. It's not as common.
Never, right?
Yeah. Well,
They're not bringing on like,
yeah.
hey, here's John Smith. He's a partner in XYZ law firm, like he's here to shoot the shit with us.
Yeah.
Like who actually like if he goes too far in a direction, he actually has something to lose.
Yeah. I think they're all going to be on the receiving end of a lot of different shit. So they probably are constantly harassed by not just like reply guys like me, but people trying to scold them, trying to woke scold them on a lot of things. But but once you become big enough, see,
that's what I'm saying. The guys on the podcast are immune, but if they bring a guest on who isn't immune to those things, right?
Yeah.
Like it was Tim Dillon, he can really say whatever he wants. Not only is he gay, but he's hugely popular. So he literally can say anything he wants. When he brought on someone who was just a regular guy who does comedy in his spare time, who actually works a real job, the guy couldn't say anything because he is so scared of losing his career.
Yes. That is, of course, what I think a lot of people can relate to.
Did you hear anything I said?
I did. It's setting in now. That's where I'm agreeing with you, and I'm saying like I feel some of that. I do, and that's the thing that comes into my head.
So what I want you to do
about being a nobody that then is just going to be like an open book to anyone that wants to look at me, because it's probably just going to look like garbage juice.
So what I want you to do is in your Uber, I want you to make, so go find on Google, make a QR code from a link, take the become a patron link and paste that QR code all over your car when you're driving people. All right.
Well, we can get QR links. You do have to pay after a certain amount of time to keep it going, because it'll have to be the same QR or link. It could be any QR that you
just
to link
print
to.
out a QR code, make a QR code from the become a patron link here.
I made business cards with just my name and my number that I'll give to good passengers if they ever ask, like, oh, how can I call for your ride again? Printed out my name and number, old school, on a piece of paper. Because also, like, in that moment where you like try to,
is it like laminated, or you put it on some hard cardstock or something, or is it literally just a piece of paper, like flimsy paper, like you pull off?
It's not the worst. No, it's an actual business card.
Okay.
So instead of like,
that's not what I'm talking about, though. I want people to be able to scan the QR code while they're sitting in their Uber and be able to become a.
My thought was, if I put a QR code on a card, that's even easier than typing in the number. So yeah, QR codes, it's definitely doable. Yeah. And last night when I was out, and I got to go out again tonight because I got to get some money.
So let's do it now. We have the Patreon set up. We can take in money. Are we approved?
I'm telling you, like everyone that I talk to about this is just unanimously like, yeah, you should do that. You should. That would be cool. Start a podcast, do a podcast, record a podcast.
Well, think of all the people you talk to in your car.
I did talk to.
If you want more of this, and you want to hear me talk more, although you have to leave my vehicle now because I have other humans to move from one spot to another. Go to this QR code, subscribe to my Patreon, and you can hear me talk for the rest of your life.
Shout out to Chantel, who I spoke with today, customer service. We talked on the phone for about an hour.
Chantel?
Because that was her name. Because I told her, hey, I want to be a comedian. I want to do podcasting because I think that's the easiest job in the world. And she agreed. And then she let me talk to her for an hour until her shift was done. And then she said, well, you just finished off my shift for me. And I said, well, you just were basically my therapist for an hour. So this was great. And
Can we get Chantel on the show?
she asked what the link was. So I've given out one person information to our SoundCloud, and our name. And then also last night, I picked up 3 younger gentlemen, international students, 2 French and 1 Portuguese, which I think that meant Portugal and not Brazilian. And his name, and I had a feeling he was Portuguese because his name was J-O-A-O. So it's that string of letters that's impossible for an American to pronounce.
Zhao.
Yeah, Zhao. And I was like, oh, that's fun to say. And they had been drinking and they've been having a good time. And they're probably like 10 years younger than us. And they were just being real casual and shooting shit. And we're talking about the States and Europe. And they asked me, like, what's your dream job? And I said, it's podcasting, guys. It's that easy. It is the future of what every one of us would love to do because it's already what we're doing now. And they said, yo, what you should do, you should take a recording of your rides. And I said, that was a show. It's called Taxi Cab Confessions.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're absolutely right because it hasn't been rebooted. It hasn't been brought back up yet.
So that could be another subscriber level.
I think that people would find it very entertaining, especially
that might become bigger. Hey, sometimes you have a startup, you create a product, and I
see your wheels turning.
You know what people you think you know what people want, and then they're like, hey, this is okay, but this thing you're bringing me over here, which you're not even thinking, this is the actual thing I want. Yeah. I see that happen with a few startups.
I see your wheels turning right now. I do.
Oh yeah, well it's also the blood orange surge White Claw.
I definitely think that we'll get to a point where it'll be easier for us to talk and easier for us to deliver, but editing is such a luxury and a cool feature that we have that the recordings can work so much better. I have a video editor that I use called VideoPad, and I put out the first video with that one. But what I noticed is I could not get VideoPad to export or save a file in just audio format. And then I realized, because it wants you to get one of its other software in the suite of this software package. And everything seems like it's going to be that much easier if the show gets to a point where it can afford the paid programming. And that's the whole key. Like the amount of time that it takes to work with these free programmings is more. And then if you pay a little bit, then it kind of brings together all of the world's wonderful
You don't have to sell me on it. I told you weeks ago to tell me what you wanted.
Well, I wanted
weeks ago.
I want to be
didn't I?
Had a good foundation. You did. No, you did. You did. You absolutely did. But I'm really just talking through it because I don't know enough to say for sure what we should try to purchase first.
Here's what I always do when I'm trying to make a decision like this. I set a timer for an hour, and I do as intense searching as I can to try to find the best product that works for me. After that hour, that timer goes off, I buy what's number one in my list because any additional time is wasting time. That's a tip for anyone listening to Prologue number 3 here. Any additional time past that 60 minutes, you're just spinning your wheels because you've probably already found what you want, and any additional marginal benefit to the product you're going to buy. Again, I'm not talking about a house or some life-changing financial decision. I'm talking about a base product, 20, $20, $200, whatever, something, whatever is the base product in your budget line. 60 minutes. Anything more is a waste. So do that. Take 60 minutes, find the best editing software that you think you can use, and after 60 minutes, tell me what it is and we'll get it. Same with the mic.
I do like that advice, because if you're spending time, it eats into the time
for things.
We're more like capable of existing online than our parents. We should feel good about that. We understand it a lot more.
Well, think about
we're getting duped at like much less of a rate. Like, I'm definitely getting fooled online all time, but like not compared to parents' generation. They get fooled like nonstop.
Yeah. Well, I live in South Florida. I don't know if I said this before. If you don't have a good scam going, you're not able to you're not living the good life here. Everyone you meet, like I was talking to a guy at my community here. He was talking about, he's big in the NFT game and creating some NFTs, and he's like, let me send you some information. And I was just like, hey, bro, I appreciate your grind, but don't waste my time with any of that shit.
Hey, thank you. God bless.
God bless.
God bless.
God bless.
It's usually that's how I write people off.
God bless.
Writing people off.
But he's not uncommon. Everyone's in this, like, there's a lot of people, there's either the scammers or the scammed down here in South Florida. I can tell you that. People with too much, I was talking to another guy that was telling me about, I've learned I had recently $100,000 lesson. I was thinking, like, if someone took me for $100,000, my life would end.
Oh my God! Right?
End. Literally end.
Yeah.
Who has the runway to make those types of mistakes? I guess people do, but we certainly don't. That's why we can't get fooled. It's because if you get fooled that bad one time, it's over for you. If you have the runway, you're just like, yeah, fuck it.
I've definitely wasted more money, like in the past few years than in the previous 10 or so. Yes, it's the same, more money, more problems. Has a truthful ring if you made good money through the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, and then you were able to retire with a pension, and then you collected a 6-figure pension yearly for the rest of your life.
On top of Social Security.
On top of Social Security.
And Medicare.
And then you bought your house for like $600. And it's somewhere along the Southern California coast.
Listen,
and you're now complaining because you have to pay
the boomer conversation for another episode, because
you have to pay $1,000 a month.
Give me one White Claw surge and a discussion on boomers, and we have 10 hours of content. Believe me.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get started on it because I can go forever.
Yeah, that's good.
The worst generation in the history of planet Earth, the baby boomers, without question.
Hey,
the
folks,
most wasteful.
Baby boomers here. We're just happy to be here. How about those millennials? Get more like me think you'll never get a job. Crowd goes wild. Hey, here's an idea. How about instead of a Starbucks, can I just get a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hackers steal about $600 million in one of the biggest crypto heists. Did you hear about that one? Just saw that. Great news. It's funny.
Ronin. Blockchain project Ronin.
Crypto, and folks, I know you're begging for our opinion about this, and we will do a more comprehensive show. Along
Ronin
with
is
NFTs.
used to power the popular online game Axie Infinity. It's a coin used to power an online game, which uses non-fungible tokens and is the biggest NFT collection by all-time sales volume.
When in the past year, we've seen a couple of these headlines, and it makes me start to wonder how different crypto is. This was the thing. This is what was supposed to not happen, right? And I'm
well, this is some
overly
bullshit
simple.
NFT. Like, who knows what the hell this is, and what amateur operation these guys are running. You know,
You think there's another thing cooking up behind it?
who knows, man? Like, a lot of the times, like when they say there's a hack, it's someone internally who's just saw like, listen, it's so big right now. We can literally take all of this money and just go to another country and never be bothered again for the rest of our life.
You may know. I'll let our listeners know. I own about 2 million Shibu coins. So, as someone that's heavily involved in crypto, I can't wait for Web3, and I support it. But I'm not married to it, and I do think it's dumb. And I think that there will be people that will lose money. It's not going to save, but people will get money from it. So you talk about the need for Southern Floridians to get a part of the
pie,
heists. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida's also
easy money.
Yeah,
there's a sucker around every corner.
Florida's taking a hit economically, like all states that all places with tourism. Over the pandemic.
Florida makes so much money. It's crazy. Like, I was at Disney 2 months ago, and it was as busy as ever. Like, there's no change.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that, because every time I loaded flights to Orlando during the summertime, they were the most ridiculously packed out suitcases and strollers. The most fucking
Florida's doing fine. Yeah, exactly.
But there was a hit. There was a hit theoretically.
Like, for a small period of time. But what happened is that all the boomers from Long Island moved down here all at once. Yeah. All at once. So you got to think, let's say COVID never happened, right? So you think, okay, let's say from 2019 to 2030, you'd have 5 million boomers moving to Florida from Long Island, New Jersey, New York to South Florida, where I'm at. That was condensed down from 11, 12 years into 18 months. It all happened at once. They all sold their homes to people who were escaping Manhattan.
You think this was happening?
This happened immediately during COVID. This happened immediately during COVID.
Start of 2020.
Listen, I wasn't in New York City during the start of COVID. I was in Tel Aviv, which is another huge ass city with a lot of people, very densely packed. My cousin lives in Manhattan, and I've talked to her about it. It was like, I went through hell with, a kid and everything. She went through hell as well. She had a little studio she shares with her boyfriend. It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. It was a nightmare scenario for people living in that city. And they got out to the suburbs as fast as they could. So they started pumping up the Long Island real estate and New Jersey real estate, spending insane money for houses in these places that I would never live. But they have to, because they're stuck on that New York grind. So they move out to Long Island, New Jersey. They spend $800,000 in a house. They've been living in Manhattan and making just so much money they don't know what to do with. And then that's pushing all the boomers. The boomers were willing to sell because that had been living in the suburbs, because they're like, screw this. I'm getting the hell away from everything. I'm going down to Florida, where no one ever has any issues ever. So they started buying up all the property down here as much as they could. So all those boomers who are going to move down over the next 10 years, 12 years, moved down in 18 months. So it was an incredible boom to South Florida. South Florida is growing like nowhere else in the United States because of that. I wanted to share this here. Junior Goldman Sachs bankers threaten to quit over 5 days a week office rule. This is new. We're talking about new COVID shit.
Solidarity, boys.
At Goldman Sachs are threatening to quit over demands that they show up to the office 5 days a week.
Hell yeah.
Only 5 days a week.
So what do they want?
Highs. Underlings, they call their underlings at Goldman, are nevertheless stepping up complaints of hellhole working conditions that have notoriously included 100-hour work weeks. Most recently, some junior Goldmanites claim that they're being bullied into showing up in person, 5-0, meaning 5 days working from the office, 0 from home. And the bullying is orchestrated by top managers armed with spreadsheets. Get in your pod and work. Get in your pod and work. In GS, the top management says it's employees' choice, but internally they track which team has the most in-office attendance.
It's fucking bullshit, bro.
From top management saying there are people first. Listen, if you work at Goldman and you think your management is people first, you're delusional.
Spot on.
In our team meeting, managers showed us the Excel where the MDs, managing directors, are tracking which department has not met in-office commitments. Of course they are. You are a number and you need to generate additional numbers. They are numbers first, not people first. Apparently they are tracking everyone's attendance. The managers are getting lists of people who have low attendance so they can bully them into coming in. What does bullying mean? What is show up to the office, you piece of shit? Like, is that what they say? Last year, Solomon called working from home a pandemic aberration, even as he drew bitter comments over his habit of working from the Hamptons, spending long weekends in the Caribbean, because he's rich and he made it out. But after asking all employees to return to the office 5 days a week, Goldman Sachs had to walk it back after the outbreak of Omicron.
So you work from home mostly, right?
I work from home every day of the week, and I do very well working from home. Goldman Sachs is a different thing entirely. It's highly collaborative, like the world of investment banking, mergers. I had my small experience in public accounting, which is the same type of environment. It's very difficult to do those things away from the team. It's very collaborative. You have to be there, meeting with people, talking with people constantly, very complex, all day, every day.
My knee-jerk reaction is to, of course, side with anyone complaining or having a tough day.
Right. But those people complaining,
I don't feel sorry for them, though.
You should not feel sorry for them for a second.
I'm not. Yeah.
Indeed, some young staffers say they're looking to GTFO of Wall Street as they interview with tech companies which offer better compensation and more flexibility. You absolutely should do that.
We're talking about finance bros, right? This is
finance pro. People who have done consulting, management consulting, mergers. People that are trained to know how to work long hours, how to tackle difficult projects in team environments. That's the people coming out of this.
Yeah.
So they absolutely should get the hell out of Wall Street.
Do you think that they have any basis for saying, like, maybe not 5 days? It doesn't have to be 5 days. I think probably.
Listen.
You probably take a day at home, right?
If you got into that world, you knew what you and you didn't understand what you're getting into, I have no sympathy,
But you're saying this is, you got to be in person.
Because to even get into this, you need to be taking internships. You need to be doing, like, you don't just show up one day and like, here's your 100-hour week, pleb.
Yeah.
Here's your $150,000 salary. Here's your 100-hour week. Like, get to work. It's a process of being evaluated from your college experience to an internship to your initial staff level, where you know exactly what you're getting into when you get into it. They're not joking with you like, oh, hey, you don't show up for the internship, and they're like, let's go get lunch and let's hang out, and you get to work. and you get to work hard and often, and then it continues for many years afterwards. There is a payoff, like David Solomon DJing and fucking and little
yeah,
little St.
that's what
James
that. Yeah,
with Jeffrey Epstein's ghost. JP Morgan is taking a more relaxed approach, has offered some hybrid options, allowed employees to work from home at least one day a week. And nevertheless, employees continue to fetch, which is great Yiddish. One said he's working remote until I get fired.
All right,
I'm working from home until I get fired.
I see
I'm
the
working
signal.
from home until I get fired.
Wow.
I don't feel like traveling to office, and I want to continue WFH, work from home. Anyone facing any action for not returning to the office? I'm working remote until I get fired. Whoever is saying this is lying. They do not have the balls to do that. I promise.
Bit of some incendiary concepts throughout this article. Perhaps the intention of the author to get some clicks.
Here's why you should feel bad for these people. During the pandemic, banks have ramped up efforts to keep junior employees happy, doling out the biggest bonuses on record, an average of $257,500 in bonuses.
It's not enough to live off of. I don't know what these people are going to do. They're going to starve.
The first year pay, $110,000.
Significantly less if you're in New York, but still six figures. Should do the trick.
Listen, 110,000 in New York is probably closer to around 60 to 80 in most of the country.
Which pays the bills, and it sucks if you
does pay the bills.
Sucks if you you can't have more time off, but yeah, I can't feel bad for them.
But these places, these banks, these firms, there's a trade-off. There's something you get. Like, anyone who's complaining about this, you know what you signed up for, and you're also getting something at the end of the tunnel. Like, if you put in a few years in these firms working those hours,
the resume looks good, right?
Incredible things afterwards. You can chill, you can make a bunch of money, you're set for life. You're set for life.
Yeah.
Show up to your office if they ask you to show up to your office, or find a new job. I don't know what to tell you.
That's right, juicers. Fuck these Goldman Sachsites and their bullshit.
I just saw this here. You always want to be for the worker, right? I'm a what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Shit, we need to cut this part again.
A supportive owner. You're an owner that supports their employees' mindset. I see myself as a business tycoon and as an undercover boss.
I always
6 years of my life.
There's a good word for it in politics. When you're when you try to make it like Trump did, where you try to make it seem like he's for the people.
Populist.
Populist. I'm a populist, right? I like the little man. Right, I really can't help it, and a lot of us in America are like this. This is not the little man here.
Exactly.
This is not.
It's easy to get it twisted.
I have no sympathy.
Yeah, and on the contrary, or in combination to the thought, if you looked at the CEOs, the operators of major operations, and you judge their decision making on how they elect for working conditions and how operations are ran, it's much, 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 much different than your local small engine repair store owner operator. But it's easy for people to kind of assume themselves in the same roles when talking about processes for managing. It's like, no, you're not managing 80,000 people worldwide. You got 4 rednecks. 3 of them are devoted alcoholics. And one of them routinely does not show up, and you actually are giving a lot to keep them employed. But it's completely different than the owner of an airline or a bank or something. This is a completely different experience, and yet it's often combined.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
It's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet.
How about this? How about this? Air purifying headphones from Dyson. I don't know. I'm still on the New York Post vibe. Get your mask and your headphones in one easy to use product.
Machines that purify air they got to be getting a lot of attention right now.
Tell me this isn't dystopian.
Yeah.
Tell me this isn't dystopian.
We've been seeing this stuff, like full head covers, like a space helmet. I've seen. Yeah,
this is what this is. This is have your headphones so that you can stay connected to the workplace and have this humongous thing in front of your face to purify the toxic, disease-riddled air that you're breathing in.
Yeah, it's good. You won't have to smell your farts again or anyone else's. That's a bonus.
Where's the Dyson like bubble that you can put the headphones on and then it just puts you in a bubble.
Mm-hmm. So the glasses that block out ugly people.
I love it. I love it. Black Mirror.
And you see beautiful people.
How about our last thing? Sport, or this is sport news. Let's talk about St. Peter's. Did you read about St. Peter's?
That's the one that beat Kentucky?
They went to the Elite Eight.
Nice.
This is a school of 2,000 people, right? Like the basketball team is like an actual calculatable percentage of the entire school, It's like 20 people on the team,
That's pretty wild.
So it's 1%. Like you can 1% of the school is the basketball team.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's a small ass school.
So the coach already cashed in, which is just so perfect. With it, they literally lost the game 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Already has a new job at Seton Hall. Get that money, dude.
Damn. Yeah, and if you're a small program, you're also not at all planning to go far into a tournament. You're definitely ready to go back home.
Get that money, dude. Oh, you played for Seton Hall. Cool.
That's got to be a good feeling. Speaking of basketball, I've been watching that new series on the Lakers, the Winning Time, that came out with John C. Reilly about the start of
the rise
Magic
of the Lakers dynasty
career. Yeah.
Is it good? Is it a recommend?
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining.
All right. So if we're closing out the show with recommendations, you say Winning Time?
Absolutely. Next episode coming out. Probably they drop Sundays. A lot of these HBO shows. Man, HBO makes you work for it, man. Netflix would just be dropping out a series and it just lets you binge it whenever you want. Boom, that's your new series.
They make you wait.
Man, I feel like maybe it was recently they gone back to this, or maybe I'm way off, but or maybe most of the shows that I've been watching the past 2 years are already old programming, so they're already out. But these newer shows, the way they do it, just every week, it keeps you gripped, wanting more, like traditional TV programming, like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Game of Thrones. Holler back to the mid-teens, 20 teens, with a monoculture show that was the last monoculture show.
Yeah.
And what also was going on during Game of Thrones? Breaking Bad. People swear by that show.
Just too good, man.
You see it?
Just too good.
Are you caught up with it? Are you a big
Yeah,
fan?
I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
I watched the whole. I think I even watched it while it was still live. At least a
Yeah.
couple seasons of it. I remember I came back from college and like downloaded a bunch of episodes and got hooked on it. This was like 10, 12 years ago. Can't remember how long. And then I kept up with it. And then like every girlfriend I had after that had never seen it. So I started watching it. I probably watched the whole show like 4 or 5 times. And it like the quality of the relationship would be judged on how far we got through Breaking Bad. It's like, oh, you know, with this girl only got to season 3. With this one, we made it through the whole season. It's a surprise we didn't make our relationship last longer, you know, like it was a judgment on the relationships itself is how long we got through Breaking Bad, because none of the girls I ever dated had seen it, especially when I moved to Israel.
That's a good indicator. Like,
right,
she's a 7-season gal.
Yeah, 7-season gal, or like we made it through half of season 1. She was a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, she's a half a season.
Yeah, she's a half season, you know. But yeah, I would if we're going on, we can talk Breaking Bad another time. I really recommend you watch it. We can even do a whole podcast on. We could do a whole podcast on Breaking Bad and Ryan's first time with Breaking Bad. There you go. Here's some additional content.
That is.
Don't cheat on the content.
That is good takes. Okay.
Yeah, people love a Breaking Bad content. I'm gonna say Formula One Drive to Survive new season. I'm big on the Formula One Drive to Survive on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, I'm big on the Formula One.
I'm so captivated by HBO. I haven't logged into Netflix in a long time. Okay, I'll look into that.
Yeah, I'm big on Drive to Survive. Big on Formula One. Watching it all the time. Best sporting events, in my opinion, worldwide.
Have you? So you've been to Formula One?
No, I haven't. I really want to go to the Miami Grand Prix. Yeah, tickets are now at around $3,000 for the weekend, or $4,000, something absurd like that. So yeah, not gonna happen.
I was driving Uber in Austin years ago, and I pick up
a Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, it's in a weird area in like the middle of like not a lot. It's like south of town, and it's so crazy because there's so much money in that. There's like so much international like fans. And
dude, the amount of money in Formula One is silly. Each car each year costs hundreds of millions of dollars to develop and to race.
It's kind of like, again, one of those sports like anyone can get into. You're a kid, you say, Mom, Dad, I want to drive Formula One. They're like, oh, maybe next weekend.
It's really easy to get into. If your if your parents are billionaires, you can certainly, like, if you devote your time to it, you can drive in Formula One. If your parents are billionaires and will support your dream.
It's like NASCAR. It's crazy to think. Like, you just have to be a kid whose parents like own like a horse farm or something. Like, you have to have a lot of fucking resources. You can't just be like, I'm good at driving, someone give me a chance.
It's a combination of being lucky and good, like everything.
Yeah. Right? Born lucky and able to see.
It's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah. It's nice to imagine like a world where it's just like the best drivers, and there are good drivers, probably, whatever. Probably does take a lot of ability, but mostly it's time behind a fucking race car wheel. And the only way to get behind a race car wheel is to be a 16-year-old trust fund child.
Yeah, it's really expensive. It's really, really expensive. You can get sponsored very young.
Yeah,
you have to have connections into the racing industry.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like you just show up and you're like, hey, I can drive really fast. You have to. A lot of the race, like in Formula One, like Lewis Hamilton's kind of self-made. His dad sacrificed a lot, and he talks about it. And Lewis is probably the best driver ever because of it. But Max
Formula
Verstappen,
One?
his dad was Max is the most recent Formula One champion. His dad, Jos, is a former Formula One driver. Charles Leclerc, he's on Ferrari. His dad was, I believe, raced cars. I don't know to what capacity. Carlos Sainz, also in Ferrari. His dad was a race car driver. There's a lot. There's a few guys there who are self-made.
Yeah.
And then there's the guys who have it in the family, and then there's the paid drivers. So most recently, there was Nikita Mazepin, who's Russian.
Mm-hmm.
His dad is an oligarch. He owns the largest fertilizer potash company in the world.
Sick.
Called Uralkali. So he paid for his son's seat. He basically threw hundreds of millions of dollars so that his son could drive. But what just happened was, because of what's going on with the war in Ukraine, Formula One banned his dad from sponsoring a team. So his dad couldn't put any more money into Formula One. So as soon as that happened, the team that he was sponsoring just threw his son right out the window, right out, immediately.
Yeah,
They brought back a driver that they had previously who wasn't a paid driver.
Yeah.
And he's already finished in 2 top 10 finishes this year. They didn't have any last year. So it's just, this kid you got to watch Drive to Survive. You'll see about Nikita Mazepin, but
people wouldn't like you, the crew doing the work, the engineers.
Oh, and they were complaining, because he was losing every race to his teammate, who is Michael Schumacher's son. I know you know the name Michael Schumacher, right?
It sounds familiar. What's that?
He was the big Formula One driver in the 90s. Okay. And his son now drives, and his son was a teammate of Nikita Mazepin, who was the son of a Russian oligarch. And Mick is a very talented kid. He comes, again, from the racing family, so he has some respect that comes with him. And Nikita lost him every race. And what they did was they complained. You see it on the Netflix show. They were complaining that that they had different cars, because each team races 2 drivers, that the car was different. There was something wrong with the car. The kid was just a shit driver. He just was not good. He was spoiled. Didn't want to put in the effort. All he knew how to do was complain and say that things weren't fair. Because that's how he had never faced adversity for 1 second in his life. But you get to Formula One, and everyone's a billionaire. You're competing in a class that you're not familiar with, right? It's funny to see. Anyway. All right. Prologue 3, 2 hours at least, minimum.
Hell yeah.
We'll probably break this out into 2 episodes, so we can fulfill our quota for the week.
That could be a bonus. What was I going to say? Tier 1 is our 2 shows. Tier 2 is 2 shows plus a video for our Patreon once that gets approved.
Right. First tier is $350. Second tier, $875.
You think so? Have you thought about these numbers a lot yourself?
I'm a natural at these things. It's in my blood.
I'm gonna believe you.
It's in my blood. I can pull prices that people will pay for things out of thin air.
Okay. I will go buy this word of yours. I will believe you. It's easy for me to believe you on those things.
We just need good names for the tiers.
Yeah.
Good names for the tiers.
Yeah.
It's going to take some thought. I don't have anything right now.
I don't have anything either. We have social accounts to continue. There's what else? Did you watch or listen through?
I've been skipping through it just to see how you did things.
Any notes?
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
I don't have any notes because you got to learn the trade. This is a learning experience. I'm not going to say it's not great. It's not it's not amazing, It is. Oh, man.
Live on video.
A dream.
Well, I guess I'll just kill myself, Lee.
Dream deferred. I'm not worried about it. I want it to be ratchet.
Yeah.
I want it to be bad. I know there's like my head isn't quite fitting. I don't care.
Yeah.
I want it to be shitty because this is garbage juice. We're trash men. What do we care? If the fade in is perfect or like we're in like I have the best background.
Fuck all you hoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it. So this is, this is cool. I think that actually us getting to this point, Prologue episode 3, is a celebration marker. So go us. And I think maybe we're ready for episode 1. So
hey, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We might just do Prologue episodes for the next 4 or 5 years.
It makes sense for me to just like try to title some stuff this way to give us an excuse
for why things are the way they are.
Yeah, like how dare you pass this off as that actual podcast? This is ridiculous.
And then we're going to start charging people for it.
Yeah.
That's even better. They're going to be paying. Someone's going to pay to see this video of half my head destroyed by a star field, and you know, us sharing things on Zoom.
Great. We got it. We got it all figured out.
Listen,
have you thought about
you have to populate the Patreon as well to start convincing people that it's worth paying for.
You're right.
If it's just a blank Patreon, no one's subscribing to that.
Yeah.
We just have to start putting in stuff in there. Even if it's ratchet, throw the video in there. Even if it's ratchet, cut the episode in half and put it up there. It doesn't matter. No one cares. They'll care eventually, but now they don't care. Most people aren't going to see this, engage with this content. It's just filler to start filling up a category in which is just putting things out there and Patreon, no loss, 3, 4, 5, no filling a category. So we can do this until it catches on or we get tired of it.
Sababa. Okay, let's chat later then. You have yourself a good night.
Let's chat later.
Let's chat later.
See you, man.
Good night.
Good night.